Hi, I'm Natalie.
And I'm Stacey.
And I'm Kristina. And this is our plant recommendation panel where gardeners write into us about their gardens, what they should put in there, what they're having trouble with, and we give them ideas for plants to put in them. So today we have Betty, who gardens in Zone 8 in full sun. She says her soil is mid-range, and her message is that she needs shrubs to cover an air conditioner, and these shrubs need to stay green in the winter. So, I'll start it off.
Yeah.
Sounds good.
All right, so Betty, I think I'm going to immediately not give you what you want. I think that you could take out those shrubs that are in between your air conditioner and your walkway, and I think you could put a really nice trellis there, something like an investment, something that's really pretty, and you could plant like a clematis, some kind of beautiful climber there, so that it won't restrict the space at all, won't grow into your sidewalk, but it also will be really easy to access that air conditioner for maintenance. And I saw that you have a meter there. And if you needed to have some work done, you could take the trellis out, cut the plant down, and it wouldn't really suffer that much. It would just grow back eventually. But then on the other side of that, in front of it, I'm not sure what is over here, but I think we could do a nice little arrangement of 2 YARDLINE Viburnums. They're big, they're tall, narrow, so they wouldn't eat up too much of your yard space. And you could plant them far enough away from those air conditioners so you could still access that spot if you needed to cover them in the winter, something like that. But they wouldn't infringe on any space anywhere. And they're also a beautiful evergreen. They have so many yummy little features, shiny foliage, just like the other plant I want to recommend, which is a Just Chill Red Tip Camellia. Now, this is what makes the space, I think, feel like a garden, because I forgot to mention the clematis that I recommend. I think that you should plant FUNYELLA. It's just such a it's so unique, it's so different. I love the little details with this plant, like its burgundy stems. And like Just Chill Red Tip Camellia, has that pretty burgundy new growth. So those details just kind of like come together. Obviously, the camellia, known for its gorgeous flowers in the fall, but with that like planting there, it would feel kind of like a cohesive garden and not just look like you're trying to hide something. And they're all evergreen, so you'll have that pretty wall of shiny foliage that's gonna look healthy all year round.
So I have seen my share of people who have attempted to cover up air conditioning units because, they are unsightly and you're just like, I do not want to look at this. But on the other hand, it's important to, of course, realize and acknowledge that air conditioners put out a lot of heat. And living in USDA Zone 8, you're probably running it quite a bit more than we have to run it here in Michigan. And so you have to be really careful that whatever you plant around there can withstand those hot blasts of air during those hottest times of the year. So it's kind of like a double whammy. So as such, I think that one thing to consider is keeping your selection to more needle-leafed evergreens or conifers rather than broadleaf evergreens. I love broadleaf evergreens. They're so pretty, and they can work as long as you space them very far from the air conditioning unit. So like if something says that it's 4 to 5 feet wide, I would definitely be spacing that thing probably at least 4 feet from your air conditioning unit. So not only do you have that access space for, people who need to repair or read your meter or whatever, but also that it has that good buffer zone from all of that hot air. And sometimes that can be an issue. It looks like from Betty's picture, there's plenty of space here. And so if space is not a problem, then by all means do that. But if you have to kind of cut things a little bit closer, I think a needle-leafed evergreen is a great choice. I love juniper. It's very, very heat tolerant. You can find some that are very space saving. So you just need to shop around for one that can grow in your climate and one that's going to stay more columnar. So it's not taking up all of that bed space for you. There's a lot of different selections. I would recommend shopping at your local garden center to see what really thrives there. Another option, since you live in USDA Zone 8 and I'm jealous, you could try Italian Cypress. Cupressus sempervirens. So if you've ever been to Italy or even seen a picture of Italy, these are those super narrow, super dramatic, gorgeous evergreens. But the trick here is they all do get fairly tall. So I don't know what size your house is. I wouldn't really try these unless you had at least a 2-story house. Otherwise they'll be out of scale because they reach 20 feet or more and could look very funky, but they're very space saving and will easily be able to tolerate all of that hot air that your air conditioning is kicking up. Another cool option is Arizona cypress, Hesperocyprus arizonica. This is an Arizona native and it has this gorgeous icy blue foliage that when people see this thing, they're just like, oh my gosh, what is that? I need that plant. This one does also get a little bit bigger, but it is one that's going to be very eye-catching while also covering those unsightly air conditioning units. And finally, like Kristina, I did also have a trellis option. I like the trellis option a lot because you never really have to worry, about dieback on the back because it's not getting enough sun or because it's just getting blasted by the heat. And I think that if you want evergreen coverage, especially in USDA Zone 8, there are a lot of very cool evergreen vines that you could plant on the trellis. Short list here, I have, as I recommended on Plant Panel before, Clematis ormondii, which is gloriously fragrant in the spring. Wouldn't even believe it, but a beautiful leathery dark green foliage all year round. Star jasmine is another one that you can grow, and of course that's a classic for you in the South. But clusters of starry white flowers, very fragrant all season. That's Trachelospermum jasminoides. You could try creeping fig if all you wanted was some green coverage. I love the texture of creeping fig. Or you could try Dress to Thrill crossvine, Bignonia, and that is new from Proven Winners. It will actually be on the market in garden centers next year, but you can find it online this year. This is a southern U.S. native with evergreen foliage and fabulous red, orangey, trumpet-shaped flowers in spring that attract hummingbirds and butterflies, and it is just a very cool plant. So if you want to go the flowering route, I do believe that the trellis is probably the safest way to go. But if you're going to plant evergreens, look for one of those needle-leafed evergreens.
I do have some very different suggestions for you and pretty simple suggestions. I noticed that you have your 2 air conditioner units. Looks like right next to them you have your water spigot, so you want to be able to get to your water. Kristina noticed some kind of a utility box that you have to get to. So I wanted to keep that area kind of open and but still give you, rather than completely hiding your air conditioners, kind of a distraction from your air conditioners. So I did pick broadleaf evergreens. I struggled to come up with needle evergreens, although I just learned about some that will go as warm as you are. So I chose a couple of broadleaf evergreens, and my first one is Squeezebox Ilex glabra. So it's an inkberry holly. It's pyramidal inkberry holly. It gets 4 to 6 feet tall and 2 to 3 feet wide. And I thought, yes, bring them a little farther forward from your air conditioner units so they're not catching a lot of the heat, and you can still get around them for servicing and things like that. But plant 3 to 5. I don't know how deep your lot goes, but plant 3 to 5 in there. I like planting in odd numbers to give you that look of these little soldiers standing in front of your air conditioning units. And then around them for a little bit of color, I would do something like Perfecto reblooming azaleas. I like Perfecto fuchsia carpet azalea because it'll stay low. It'll grow in and around your evergreens and give you that bright pop of pink color. If you don't like pink, you can get white, you can get red, you can get orange. There's a lot of different colors. But the nice thing about the carpet series is they do stay a little lower and wider, and you can move your sweet little cherub statue up there and pop it right in with your azaleas in front of your tall inkberry hollies that give that look of a stand of evergreens while being a lot smaller and more properly sized for your residential landscape. So that's it. That's all I had for that. Kind of simple and easy to do and super easy to maintain as well.
One thing I did want to add, and this is for everybody who wants to hide an air conditioner, utility box, whatever, I honestly think that one of the best, most foolproof options is an ornamental grass. It's not going to give you that evergreen coverage, but the great thing about ornamental grasses is they can easily tolerate that hot, blowout from the air conditioning unit. And no matter what time of the year a repair person or meter reader needs to come, they can be cut back, they can be trampled. So if you need just like one easy, inexpensive, fail-safe option, look for whatever large ornamental grass catches your fancy and grows in your climate. And I feel like that's like an easy, foolproof option too.
Yeah, that is a great option,
Mhm.
especially because I think ornamental grasses are pretty in the winter.
Yeah.
Like, they provide a lot of interest. And like Stacey said, it feels nice to have something that you really can't mess up that bad. Speaking of messing things up, the last thing was there's some irrigation in that area.
Oh, yeah.
Mhm.
So if you're not sure where those pipes are in your ground, might be worth calling the person who services your irrigation, because digging into one of those lines is not great. So something to think about as you embark on your project. Betty, thank you so much for writing to us. Hopefully some of these ideas really spark the planting fire in you. And if you're not Betty and you have a garden that you'd like some advice about, how about you send us some pictures, write to us about it in the link below, and we'll take a look, give you some ideas. And until then, see ya.